Hey, good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn. Welcome to the Wellness Way Quick Tip. Today we have a very interesting topic. Interesting topic because, once again, it's something that should be part of your health regimen. It's something that people know actually very little about. So what I want to do today is I want to go through and actually going to give some good information out that way, but I want to say hi to everybody that's online. Thank you for guys for always jumping on. I always appreciate you guys jumping on every Saturday. I know you guys, for example, have lots to do that way, so I appreciate every time you guys do jump on. So thank you so much as we see all you guys popping on. Oh, thank you. Good morning, everybody. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about inversion, okay? Why is inversion so important? Well, inversion is so important for multiple reasons. If you think about, we start inversions at a very young age. A lot of people don't really understand the fact that we are inverted for the first part of our development that way. If you think about our first part of our life, how we come out is inverted, all right? Just through the birth canal that way. It's kind of interesting because one of the greatest things for young babies today is actually inverting them every day and multiple times a day once they're born, all right? So we're going to go through some different things that are going to really challenge your mindset on this that way, because a lot of people say, Doc, I just can't hang upside down. It's like, well, actually you started your life coming out upside down. So we're going to go through all the major health benefits of that. Then you see, I got an inversion table that we have here at the office that way. And I'm going to put my nephew Brandon on there and kind of go through how simple it is. Now, once again, you don't need an inversion table to actually invert. You can do it multiple ways, and we're going to go over that. So actually, what is inversion? What's the major benefit of it that way? Well, inversion is it's simple. Just get your feet above your head, okay? And on top of it, for example, you don't need an inversion table. One of the simplest ways to do it is actually, if you're laying down your back, just put a pillow underneath your knees. And if you really want to do really good inversion, actually lay on your living room floor and put your legs up on the couch, okay? And you can actually make kind of like a little, 90-degree turn with your legs that way, and just let your legs elevate that way. See, gravity itself, for example, is constantly pulling us down. Actually, gravity, now remember, as being a chiropractor, gravity is actually something that's very, compressive. That's why if you look today, there's a lot of therapies of decompression that way and trying to pull things apart. Well, see, gravity by nature pulls us down. They've done studies with animals across the world, and they found out, for example, things like bats, things like possums, even spiders, they do, you hear some claims that they don't get arthritis and different joint problems. Well, they do, because they're not always inverted that way, but they find out that they have less. They find out, for example, that they don't have much degenerative joint disease as other creatures that are, up or are even on all fours that way. So what happens is bats and possums actually have a little less joint degeneration than some of the other animals. Now, do we know if it's just, from inversion that way? Well, there's got to be some good correlation that way. But we do know, for example, that this is one very simple and easy and cheap. No joke. This actually, the inversion table right there, I think I bought for $50 at Dick's Sporting Goods that way. So it's actually pretty cheap and pretty simple to do. So obviously I see everybody continue to pop on. Just want to thank everybody that way. Let's see who's all on here, Brandon. Yes, got a bunch of people on this morning. Thank you. Oh my goodness.
Amy,
yes.
Matt, Heather, Angie.
Good morning, everybody. I said, just want to say, there we go. Finally, good morning, Kelly. Oh, Kelly is in Mexico. Hello from Mexico. Hello, Aaron, Kayla, Jeremy, Audrey. Good morning, Angie. Thank you for joining. Heather, Matt, Amy, Tabitha, all you guys, thank you. Good morning, Dr. Matt Warmer from down south there. Thanks for joining on. So once again, all of you guys, when we use inversion that way, I want you to start with this. The best way to start out with inversion is very simple, okay? Because once again, when a person uses an inversion table, you go upside down right away. Sometimes it can be overwhelming for the amount of blood flow going to your head. So that's why you want to start with the very simplest aspect, okay? So let's go through what kind of happens within the body when you actually invert that way. The biggest thing is this. If you look at the massive health benefits that way, just the amount of stress relief on your body is amazing just from inversion. Now, why? How can hanging upside down, how can raising your feet above your heart, above your head, actually relieve stress? Well, it's more about what happens with your adrenals. Whenever you, for example, get your adrenals, and your adrenals are on the top side of your kidneys. Whenever you get your adrenals actually above your heart, okay? And there's a very nice exercise pose that people do, yoga, okay? If you look at yoga, the majority of their poses are actually upside down. Headstands, shoulder stand, downward dog, that constant head below the heart. But the really big key that people forget, they always talk about head below the heart, but it's the adrenals above the heart, above the head. Why? The adrenals produce the majority, if not almost all, of our corticosteroids, of all of our catecholamines. What is that? Well, some of our catecholamines cause vasoconstriction. That means the blood vessels get very tight, they're supposed to. For example, if someone breaks in or a fire catches right now, I want my adrenals to kick in catecholamines to increase my blood pressure so I can run out of here. Okay? So when you actually get the adrenals above the heart, when you get it above the head and having that rear end start to come up in the air, what now happens, your adrenals go, thank you. And they rest. So it takes massive stress off the stress gland. Just standing upright right here, guess what happens? My adrenals have to produce a significant amount of catecholamines, different hormones, for example, that allow the blood pressure to get blood up to my head. That's very key, okay? One of the biggest mistakes that we make in inversion is we actually do the opposite when it's the most important. The most important time to invert, if you're going to do inversion, is right before bed. But you should be inverting all night long like a bat. Now, not hanging upside down, let me give you a little tip. One of the most detrimental things to actually cause inversion not to be there is a pillow. I believe that people have massive pillow addictions. If you can really understand it, I think most people should get rid of their pillow, and because here's what happens. So let's even say if you lay on your back. If you have a back and lay on your pillow, you actually go the opposite in inversion. And now the heart and the adrenals have to work harder. It's one of the reasons why they showed this. They've done some great observations when it came to babies that are breech. Remember, a baby is actually inverted for the last couple months before it's delivered. See, that's why it's kind of interesting. One of the greatest things you have to do with your child when they're actually born is grab between the ankle and knee and hold them upside down. It's called unwinding. They will move and stretch, but then inversion will calm them down, especially if you have a colicky baby. One of the easiest ways to calm colic down is invert your child 5 to 6 times a day. Okay? But what happens is this, when you invert them, what it does, all the blood flow gets there, their stress reduces, their GI drains better. Okay, that's why, for example, we actually have a reduction in stress. See, the one thing about the GI, the GI has to go up and down, up and down. Well, remember in the ascending colon, what happens is when you invert, it helps your stool move better. That's why they see better digestive processes with it that way. So there's so many major health benefits that way that you can do just doing inversion itself. And back to the babies, what happens is when you invert them, you actually start their process being able to stretch them properly. Most children, if you ever notice, they can't stretch properly. Why? They don't have the structure yet to do it that way. Their muscular system and connective tissue hasn't developed fully that way, so it's harder for them to stretch. So inverting them is not only great for their joints, but it's amazing for them to calm down. That's why the colicky baby, you can do that on a regular basis. So back to that pillow aspect. We use pillows that way, we're actually doing the opposite inversion. We're actually putting our head up, putting our head above the heart, putting our heart above the adrenals, and now our body has to work harder. One of the simplest ways to invert is take a 2x4 and put it at the foot of your bed. Let me say it again. Put it at the foot of your bed. So if this is your foot, this is your head, put it at the foot of bed and just elevate a little. It may not seem like a lot, but your adrenals, your heart, will be slightly above your head. Blood flow will get better to your head. The amount of stress on your body will actually reduce massively. Your digestion will be better. Your lymphatics, remember, your lymphatics have to come up to here to drain, okay, to this area, up in the chest area, okay? It will drain out better, so you actually detox better that way. So inversion has so many massive benefits. See, I know a lot of people do this because of snoring and because of science problems. What they do is they actually sleep propped up. You don't realize, once again, you're putting massive, massive pressure on the body, massive drain on your adrenals, massive stress on your heart. Now, and also, here, let's go back to the baby. They've done some observations with children that are breech, and they found out that breech children actually are more active in utero than children that are head down. Well, of course. Once again, baby or not, in utero or out, if the baby's upright, the adrenals and heart have to pump harder to actually get blood flow to the baby's head. So when the baby's down and engaged the last couple months, they find that the babies are sleep better, they're actually less stressed, they actually move less, they kick mom less, Okay, so that's why breech baby presentation actually is more damaging than they really know. Okay, so getting that baby to flip, once again, go see your chiropractor. Go see chiropractors that understand the Webster's technique that can help that baby reposition that way. So it's massively enjoyable, for example, for a mom, when you get that baby to flip and that baby calms down. Okay, it's the same concept. That's why it's so important. No joke, guys. We should be inverting every day, every day. Now, once again, you don't have to have an inversion table. All right. So what we're going to do now is this: we're going to bring Brandon up here. He's going to change the camera angle here. Okay, and we're going to actually bring Brandon up here, and we're going to put him on our inversion table today. So while we're doing that, I'm going to say hi to everybody. Hello, Amanda. Yes, go to Home Depot and get the 2x4. It works great. Good morning, Dr. Dennis. Okay. Good morning, Brianna. So what we're going to do is we're going to put Brandon here, and we're going to put him on his inversion table. And what we're going to do now here's what happens, guys. Now, Brandon has done this before. So what happens is, you can lay back. So Brandon's done this before. So what you do when you first start, when you invert, you can actually start a person. You relax, okay? So what he can do is actually start a person just slightly inverted. Actually, this is one of the best ways to sleep. It's just slightly inverted that way, where the head is just a little bit slightly below. Now, as you learn, you can start to go significantly more and more and more to the point where you hang upside down. Okay, now Brandon's best area is to let his hands drop down to the floor, okay, and let him stay there. Now, there's friends I have that actually will stay there for an hour and even fall asleep. I can't fall asleep yet. I like to invert, but it's hard to fall asleep. Yeah, like Brandon just said, he can fall asleep. Now remember, the adrenals are here, the heart's there, the head's down there. His body will totally relax, okay? Your feet are just nice and relaxed in there, locked in that way. It's kind of nice. Now, actually, from a spine standpoint, everything is decompressing, okay? It's pulling things apart that way. Now, I always tell people say, Doc, how long do you go? As long as you can. If you can only handle a minute, do a minute. If you can handle 10 minutes, do 10. If you can do an hour, do an hour. Okay? It's all decompressing that way. Right now, Brandon's body is doing what? The adrenals, the lymphatics, the digestion, the amount of stress, the amount of degeneration that his spine could go through that way has markedly reduced. Okay? Now, once again, this right here is inversion. Oh, you stay down there. This right here is inversion. This right here is inversion. But believe it or not, this right here is inversion, where the head is just slightly below. You don't have to be fully inverted. It just does a better, actually a little bit more force with gravity that way. So, as we bring Brandon back up, thank you. Now, if you see, his face is red. His face is significantly red because, once again, getting all that blood flow to there. Heck, it's interesting. People suffer from a lot of headaches, because of vasoconstriction. They don't get a lot of blood to their head. This actually does a wonderful job of doing this, all right? So you can actually, for people that do suffer headaches, it does two things. It helps the structure of your neck get better, but on top of it also does, it actually brings blood flow to the head. One of the reasons why sometimes you'll see people take certain medications, they're vasodilators, they get blood flow to the head that way. It's kind of nice. It's very calming. It actually causes some very calming neurotransmitter release when there's blood flow. Brandon's just shaking his head and back right now. If you saw him, he's like, there's a very peacefulness to it that way. Now, it's very simple. So where do we start? You don't have to run it by a version table. I tell you right now, go on Craigslist and go on different places. People buy inversion tables because they actually know the benefits to them, and they never use them. So really, you don't have to go to Dick's Sporting Goods and spend. No. I've seen inversion tables for thousands of dollars, and they're okay. I bet you they're comfortable. I know they're going to tell you that they're so much better, maybe for comfort purposes, but the whole purpose of inversion table is to get your feet, adrenals, and heart above the head. You can do that with a 2x4 in your bed. Okay, you can do that of laying on the living room floor and putting your knees up on the couch. You can do it in bed, putting your pillows underneath your legs, okay, to actually get that elevated that way. I bought that one for, I think, between $50 and $70 that way on clearance at Dick's Sporting Goods. Look at them. You can go on Craigslist. You can go on, go on Amazon. You probably find one you have them delivered right to your door that way. So, do I have any affiliation or any preference of inversion tables? No, I think they're all good. I think as long as you have a comfort level on there that you like to do it, and you find yourself wanting to do it on a regular basis, buy that one. A lot of people say, email me and say, Doc, what's your favorite juicer? I'm like, the one that's sitting on your counter not being used, okay? They're all good. Now, yes, I know some people have better juicers than others, but at least some juicing is better than none. Any inversion is better than none, okay? So it can start out with a 2x4 at the bed to the couch, and you can gradually work your way up to actually buying one and hanging upside down like Brandon did. So let's recap. A child before it's born is inverted for months. It's a very common aspect. Babies that are breech, guess what? Actually have more activity in utero that way. Once again, when they're born now, it's important to actually invert babies. All you have to do is hold them by the legs. A lot of times you'll see walking into our offices, you'll see parents holding their children, or us docs holding the children upside down, letting them unwind. It's very important for actually spinal health care for a child. It's also great for all the other things, lymphatics, stress relief, digestion, all the major factors that get blood flow to the head, okay? And once again, you can do this multiple ways. Guys, be very careful at using a pillow. I believe there's a massive pillow addiction that you got to be careful with because it's causing a lot of these problems. You're going to be anti-inverting that way. You're going to be propping your head up too much, which can lead to a lot of health problems that way. From adrenal problems to heart problems to actually sleep problems and more. And a lot of stress in the body. So, I hope you enjoyed our demonstration today with inversion. Please do me a favor, invert on a daily basis. With the exception of maybe investing into a little bit of an inversion table, it's something that costs you nothing every day. It just takes a little bit of time that can make a dramatic thing change on your health. My name is Dr. Patrick Flynn, the Hormone Whisperer. Thank you so much for joining our morning's Wellness Way Quick Tip. I will see you next week.